Tonight, a college student who is suffering with incredible amounts of pain, a youth group leader that was infected with hookworms, plus we get some updates from past cases. It's the Chasing the Cure after show on AfterBuzz TV, and it starts right now.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
How's everyone doing out there on the internet land? Chasing the Cure, the after show. Are you having fun out there?
Yes, I have to keep it positive and lit.
Positive and lit.
Exactly.
I will have that on a shirt, no problem.
that is catchy.
Yeah, for real. I'm Flobo Boyce. Thank you so much for tuning in and keeping us on your second screens and everything. Chasing the Cure, episode 7. A lot to go into, but before we do that, let me introduce my co-host. Of course, this week and every week, she is Black Hollywood's live senior correspondent, working way up there.
Yeah, I'm working.
Get up for Sierra Stafford.
We working, yes. Hi, guys. It's me, Sierra Stafford. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, for sure. We're 7 weeks in Chasing the Cure.
Mm-hmm.
I know I ask you this every single week, but as the show has gone on, let me know how you feel. What's your diagnosis? What prognosis?
Oh goodness. No, I feel like I always say, I feel like we're making a lot of progress. We haven't seen many people that have got bad news, which is a good thing. Yeah, so far so good.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
So the show starts up pretty hot with Ann Curry basically reaffirming the show, saying, hey, look, this is about crowdsourcing, giving people hope in the community. We found 8 diagnoses for 7 people. Now, I know this may be a cynical question, but we're expecting more. If you had to predict before the show started and say, hey, look, by episode 7, finding 8 diagnoses, is that something that you'd be satisfied with? Are you expecting more or less?
You talking about for a specific person or?
Just in general. They've actually specifically said over 7 weeks we found 8 diagnoses.
Oh, okay, there.
If you were watching a show, if I was pitching you Chasing the Cure and you hadn't seen it before, and you said, hey, in 7 weeks they will find 8 diagnoses, do you think they're on the right track? Do you think that's something positive to take home from? Or?
What is that, like a month and a half?
Pretty much, yeah.
Honestly, I will have to say yes, only because as watching this show, we see how hard it is to figure out what someone has. A lot of these people go to different doctors, multiple doctors from all across the world and never get anything.
Yeah.
So watching this makes me appreciate the fact that it does take a lot that goes into it. Just not saying, oh, she has something, let's figure out what it is. Yeah. It takes more time. So the fact they have 8 in a month and a half, I think it's probably logical for doctors. We're not doctors, so I can't say.
Oh, yeah.
But from watching it, I think that they're pretty good.
Maybe chalk me up for being one of those Generation Y, gimme now. But I would expect by now there'd be a lot more of a finite diagnosis for things. But you're right. It does come up with saying, hey, look, there's a lot more complicated diseases out there that we're not aware of.
I would say I hate that. Well, I'm not going to hate the fact. I don't like the fact that they give multiple answers for one person.
Sure.
That's what I don't. That can be confusing. But as long as I get the end result, the end answer, then I mean, it works out.
Yeah, and Curry said it herself. Not every case has an answer, which must be really frustrating. But the idea is, well, 2 things. One, it's the access to having the top line doctors, and they're very, very quick to do. Let's do genetic testing, which they were saying some insurances don't even cover. So props to that. I just hope I was wishing that we got more like, yeah, we were part of this victory. But it's so frustrating how real life can come at you and go, ugh.
I know.
No. Our first case today was one that was teased last week about Alex. Alex was a 20-year-old. Well, he had to drop out of college, but he had severe pain in his joints and his limbs. Must be one of the worst feelings in the prime of your life. You should be out there getting into trouble, hanging out. Getting lit. If you're like me, I was the most unlit 20-year-old. I went to the burger joint at midnight. That's how I went crazy. But
that was pretty subtle.
Okay, yeah.
It's got lit on occasion.
Yes, we got occasionally lit kids. Just walk me through that about how his journey was.
Well, I just want to start out. I'm jumping the gun already, but
jump that gun.
Yes, jump. Sorry, but he can go back to college
for sure.
Positive news came out of his story today. He suffered from severe chronic pain. He felt with deep pain in his muscle and his joints, and like we said, 20 years old. That's pretty sad at that age. But now they diagnosed him with amplified multiskeletal pain syndrome, short enough for AMPS, and so he has a cure now. Oh, not a cure, but still working with it. But he's gotten very far, and they're saying he has positive hope for the future, which is cool.
Yeah, absolutely. It was kind of interesting for me for 2 things. One, over 900 people came forward in the Chasing the Cure wire, which I think is the highest overall. And he was tested for lupus and fibromyalgia and Ehlers-Danlos disease and Lyme disease. So lupus and Lyme disease always tends to be the first, we don't know what this is, let's test for that. When we go beyond that, it was kind of this game of finding out if it was going to find a cure. But you're right. AMPS, amplified musculoskeletal pain syndrome, said that his medication regimens would be cut down because he had so many other pills from other different diseases. now they can do it down. I want to talk to you specifically about Dr. Sherry. Dr. Sherry was the doctor that was brought on the panel this week, the one that sought out Alex, proving the chase and cure method works. He was saying something about, quote, a lot of people are over-medicalized. His thoughts about his approach and what he said about that tonight?
I loved it. I feel like the way he came about his approach was like, I've been waiting to say this. Like he was just like, I've been waiting to let the world know that stop going to doctors. Like I mentioned before, they get a lot of diagnoses and none of them are right. But like he said, they get medicated for it, they get treated for it, and he's like, just stop. We know what you have. Stop going to all these doctors. Stop getting all this medicine. Going through all of this money, everything for no reason. So I feel like he's making a point, and it's kind of scary though, because it's like, well, is what he's saying really true? Am I just wasting all this time and money, putting my body through all of this, just so you guys can just keep pulling the horn? So for him to say, you know what, guys, it is amps. We're going to stop here. I thought that was a big call, and I kind of believe him. I'm like, okay.
Kind of jealous.
I'm on your side.
Jealous of his flowing locks, too. And
goodness.
lastly, before we move on, Danny DeVito does a cameo, giving out support as Alex's favorite actor, which is something that we've seen more and more as the season goes on. A lot more celebrities coming forward saying, hey, we see your show, we see your cure, your pain, we're down for the cure.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, final words about that?
I just love it.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
you said, we get more and more people every week, and we'll talk about it. But the next page, she got like multiple people. So I was like, okay.
Sorry, Alex.
They make all dreams come true.
Before you go to Dejauner, can you do us a world of favor, Sierra, and tell the world how they can listen to this AfterBuzz show and other AfterBuzz shows?
Yes, well, thank you for making our dreams come true by watching us every week, and not just our after show, but all the after shows. So make sure you just not only watch and subscribe, but also go on iTunes, give us all those 5 stars, and we're also on Spotify as well. So we will love and appreciate you guys, and thank you for always kicking it with us.
Oh, appreciate the thing.
Thank you.
Like you said, we'll probably jump ahead, but Dejauner got an update about her case. So just a couple weeks ago, she was the individual that had severe cramps and vomiting, and they didn't know what was going on. In fact, she had thrown up so much like her stomach acid had worn down her teeth. Turned out she had uncontrolled type 1 diabetes. Walk me through the update today, and what's that mean for Dejauner?
So as we saw, it was kind of early in the season, but early episode, we know she has type 2 diabetes, and the result for her was to put her on a 24-hour monitor, basically where she can track her sugar at all times, which will help her. But also, even though they helped her with that, they said it was one more thing, which was her skin. She was getting rashes on her skin, and they said that was... there we go. He got me, you guys. So that's what they diagnosed her for her skin, so they did a treatment for that as well. But I feel like... I think they're done, right? Or they
more or less. So it was type 1 diabetes, and they made the point that both of them are very, very different.
Yeah.
The thing is about the fireplace syndrome, which is the more layman term. It was interesting to me because of how she contracted it. She was such much in pain. She had a heating pad turned all the way up, so she was grabbing it, holding it close to her chest. And you don't really realize how one thing can relate to another, how we try to self-medicate or we try to have homeopathic things that can have a domino cascading effect.
Yep.
So that could have been a whole new mystery altogether, but I'm totally glad it worked out for her, right?
Yeah. And she was happy at the end. So, and remember I said in the beginning of the season, like my heart really felt for her. She's so young. I mean, a lot of them are so young, but it was just so sad to see her go through that. And you can tell like the pain she's going through, so.
Yeah, that's definitely a lot of things she can get back to, because I mean type 1 diabetes does have its restrictions, but it's not necessarily a death sentence. It's a way to work with that with your life, with diet and regulation of your glucose system. And like you said before, her last appearance, it was a smart glucose monitor that goes right to her phone, just like that, and she can say, hey look, hey, this is how it works. So
just like that.
Wishing her the best for Dejauner. Hopefully we get an update later on at the end of the season that shows her path of recovery. I thought that'd be kind of cool. Moving on, we talked about this is a new case for today, but we talked about how families are affected by cases. In the case of Tesra, so Tesra had these lesions all over her tongue and her skin, and she had swelling on her body, and because of the steroid use, she had gained so much weight and actually had steroid-induced type 2 diabetes, which seemed to be a strain in the family, but her husband was right there by her side saying, I still love her, she's loved my life every single day. Sierra, walk me through this. How would you experiencing this, like having someone suffering, looking so much in pain, but their significant other is like, I still got you?
I mean, when you get married, it says till death do us apart.
Yeah, but we're only human, though. Not saying it's not bad. I'm just saying that...
Ladies, guys,
that's
this
not
how
what I
men
meant.
think.
That's not what I meant.
Thank you for showing me.
That's not what I meant. I'm saying is we all say for better or worse, but there's some things you're like, man, this is frustrating or challenging.
I mean, no, I know. I mean, I get it. I guess.
Clip this out. I want girlfriend know about this. All right.
Because listen, she don't want you.
I know, right?
Okay.
What if I get sick?
But overall, for her case, so I actually had a question because she is taking the steroids, but she says she wants to get off the steroids. She wants something else. So I want to know what again are the steroids helping? Because I feel like they're hindering her,
Absolutely.
but yet she's still having to take them. So I'm not connecting the two.
Sure. So there was definitely with the water retention and the swelling that they thought that the steroid used to be able to open those up. So a lot of times with steroids, depending on what they're used for, it may open up some of your capillaries to make sure blood flow goes as well. So you're in a situation where you're treating it, but it's not getting any better, but so you try to amp it up more, and then having so much overtaxes the system. Even concurrent to that, she had a slight addiction to opioids because she had the pain or whatever, having to deal with that, and she had to struggle with opioid addiction as well. So it was kind of like one thing was leading to another, a cascading effect. I mean, we could talk all day about the opioid crisis and how it's affecting people. But yeah, those steroids were definitely something that was damaging to her.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, but it's doing both. I feel like it's helping her and damaging her. But they did say that she is going to do an autoimmune investigation. So I feel like we're still digging deep into her issue, but I think we're going to find good results for her too as well.
Absolutely, with pemphigus being the main diagnosis thing, it hasn't been confirmed, but it definitely puts the same thing. Lyme disease is in the issue over there as well. The one thing I thought was kind of odd though was how her tongue was the indicator, right? Because she had virus infections in there and it had lesions in there, and that's the kind of opened up the door of saying, well, maybe something more. But hopefully we'll get more answers there. But she got some celebrities too that came out.
That's who got a lot. She got people from Extreme Home Makeover. What was
I tried writing it down. I got Rory's dad, the first patient from the first case, wrote in by Twitter in the crawl. But Paige Davis from Trading Spaces.
There we go.
Ty Pennington from Extreme Makeover Home Edition. Audrina Partridge from The Hills. And Rachel Lindsay from The Bachelorette. Who invited her to a podcast? What did I know she had a podcast?
And she definitely got invited, So I didn't even know this. Honestly, she got the whole clan out. Okay? She said, I want everybody from every walks of life. I love you all. So I thought that was cool. They all came or gave her a shout out.
Just real quick, we got a little quick update about Deborah and Delaney. That was the mother and daughter team that was dealing with vision loss. They got invited to the Global Gene Summit in San Diego to find other people with likewise rare diseases. Props for them. I'll probably get a final update. It feels like this is going to be one of the bigger cases they're doing a through line for. And in our Strange Affliction segment, can you walk me through this one about Michael, the youth pastor leader?
Oh, goodness. Okay, well, not the strange addiction, but so Michael, he's also young as well, so he went to travel with his youth group to Florida. And, like kids or just teenagers, they dared or wanted somebody to get buried in the sand. And so he was like, okay, I'll do it. He left the trip.
Really?
Came back home, and his foot was itching severely. And turns out he had hookworms. First off, I didn't even know that existed, let alone lives in the sandy, beautiful beaches.
Yeah.
So it makes me not want to go to the beach now.
Yeah.
So this is kind of scary for me, but his was more so like a testimony.
Right.
So he just came to show that what he had, and he's actually okay now. They gave him liquid nitrogen to freeze the worms so they can get out, and he actually said he saw it and saw the worms I just can't imagine how that felt. But he said it was very painful.
Yeah.
But it's good that he's okay.
A lot of things to unpack here. So
you see a lot of things to unpack. So
you're a missionary. You're on a trip, and someone says buried in the sand. Have you ever been buried in the sand before?
Nope, and I'm not going to now.
Well, of course, yeah. To me, that was kind of weird, but he got it, and he somehow took a picture of it. And it turns out that he said that with the red streaks, and it's boring because the hookworms actually eat the flesh of the body, which
could be deadly.
Could have been deadly. Glad he caught it. Yeah, the liquid nitrogen, I'm not sure how you have access to that, but...
Doctor, I'm telling you.
I'm just like, man, how does that work? But having to watch, that's like a horror movie. To me, we've seen pretty much gruesome and graphic cases on this show. I'm not trying to say I have a weak stomach or anything like that, but the idea of me telling the story of me sitting down, someone freezing your lower extremities to see worms come out must be weird to watch.
And now that he's okay, I'm glad that he's okay, so I feel like we can talk about it more. But, like, it kind of makes you think, I'm sorry, real quick, it makes you think, like, what really lives under the sea and under the sand. Like, it makes you think those type of things seriously. And it's like a lot of people, it's millions of people on the beach every day. It's a lot of I just think about germs. It's just a lot. So I feel like his story more than anything was a wake-up call.
Sure.
Or just to be, cautious.
I wonder what those hookworms were eating them before. Is that a weird question to ask?
Okay, I was thinking that too. So I was thinking, like, how does he know it came from the sand?
Right. I don't know. Was the hookworms hungry, just hanging out like, man, I'm so starving, and then snap.
Or do they live in the? We'll have to Google it, guys. Yeah. Or if you know something in the comments, let us know.
Definitely. It was a rare case. 6 out of 100,000 people a year get hookworms, so that's a very, very rare case. It's unfortunate it happened to Michael, and glad
it's okay.
And glad the story was told in the show. And lastly, we have a preview for next week about Lakeitha from your home state of Texas. Thoughts about that?
Marshall, Texas. Okay.
You know where that is? I had no idea. Is that near you?
It's probably about an hour and a half or two. It's like
Texas
a small.
is big enough that an hour and a half isn't that bad though.
It's not. Yeah, I'm from Dallas, which is big, but Marshall's like a small country city, so it's kind of
Dallas is a country.
Okay, Texas is country, but Dallas is more like a city, like you see behind you.
Okay. Yeah, we're not actually in Dallas. Yeah.
Dallas is like a big city, like Dallas, Houston, Austin. Those are like the
I've been
top
there once for a
3.
conference, so I've seen it, but I have not experienced.
Oh no, it's not country. It's not horses and crazy stuff like
but
people
there's boot
think.
stores.
It is. No, it is. Now, trust me. I've seen some horses before, but it's not like. It's not what people think. It's really not.
That's West
like
Texas.
you don't just walk around just seeing crazy stuff. It's a city, normal city.
Gotcha.
But Lakeitha, so she's actually having growths on her left hand and her left feet, and then she's getting dark spots on her left arm. So she was actually just a sneak peek for next week. But her case looks very severe.
Yeah.
I don't think we've seen nothing like this, and we've seen some crazy things. So I can't wait to see.
Absolutely. She said she was suffering this since she was a teenager.
Yeah.
And she's trying to find some semblance of a life. I mean, she has a family, or at least a husband. And obviously loves her. It doesn't matter about the physical thing, but you can understand the psyche of it all, right? You have to see how you dress a certain way. You have to make sure no one looks at your hand a certain way. And
who she hangs out with.
And
she's married, and it sucks that it's on her left hand.
Yeah.
And, you wear your wedding ring on your left hand. So she's like, the first thing I would do when I get this fixed is wear my wedding ring. And you can just see her, like, excitement, but hope for it all. So I just really hope she gets it fixed.
Yeah.
Because that's sad. I want to show off my rock.
Okay. That concludes our cases for today. Moving on to our special segment, it's now time for Tools for the Cure. I don't get a drop. All right. So on Tools for the Cure, we talk about how medical technology works together to find out new innovations in the world of medicine. This one comes from medgadget.com. There's actually a material to repair cardiac tissue damaged by heart attacks that passes its first clinical trial. And I get this. Ventrix, a spin-off company of the University of California, San Diego, has developed a special hydrogel that can be injected into the heart to provide a platform for cardiac repair following a heart attack. The technology was tested in humans for the first time as part of an FDA-approved Phase 1 clinical trial, which is big. That's the first step you take to make sure it's on path to being approved for public use. Though limited in size, the study pointed to the safety of hydrogel, and there are definite signs that it helps to improve cardiac function. We've seen hydrogel in other applications, but to be used for cardiac issues must be a step in the right direction, because you want to be as little as invasive as possible. So look out for that. That may be approved, and if it is, that's a whole other option to fight against cardiovascular disease.
That's next level.
Next level right here.
That's next level right there.
That's Tool for the Cure.
And it does amaze me that California is the first to do it. You said, was it San Diego? You said, I'm sorry.
California, San Diego.
Yeah, so California's just great when it comes to health. In my opinion, I don't know.
The UC system is pretty good.
Coming from Texas is pretty dope.
Yeah. That's awesome. And now it's time for our news segment.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Sierra Stafford, tell the world something that's informative and entertaining.
Oh, I got a lot of informative things for you guys. So, I always like to give you your fun facts, keep you healthy and right. So, I always do body, but I want to make sure we talk about the mouth and the teeth, because that's important too.
Yes, they are.
So, 5 fun facts about your teeth. So, the first one I have for you today is tooth enamel is the hardest bone in your body. That's why teeth last forever.
Okay.
If you take care of it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then number 2, your mouth makes 25,000 gallons of saliva in a lifetime, which is the size of 2 Olympic swimming pools.
Wait, how do you measure that though? Is it like a daily thing, or does someone just like spit in a cup for the entire life? Like how would you?
I wish I was Dr. Sierra, but
2 swimming pools is a lot. But okay, I take rest.
You know, I just report the facts.
Fair enough.
And then number 3, children have 20 baby teeth, and adults have 32 permanent teeth. Teeth will start to grow within your gums before you are even born.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I saw baby X-ray once. It's like teeth all over the place. They're just waiting to come out.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm gonna have to, next time I like just see one, I'm gonna have to just try to look. I don't know. And then number 4, your mouth has more bacteria in it than there are people on this entire planet, but that's okay. Just be sure to brush your teeth regularly to avoid decay. And you know, brushing your teeth 3 times a day is normally good, you know, after you eat. Oh, fun fact, don't brush it right after you eat though, because it will soften the enamel. That's something I learned. So
okay.
if you're gonna brush your teeth after you eat, make sure you wait like a few minutes and then do so. For my people that, you know, do that thing.
Who brushed? Okay, yeah.
Well, 3 times a day.
Yeah.
You know, those, yeah. I'm not there yet.
Yeah, I'm not there yet. I'll chew gum like a dude, but I can't.
No, seriously. And then last but not least, number 5, the teeth in our mouths are like fingerprints. Each person are different. It's even true for twins.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, that's more. Yeah, because nothing on our body's equal. So that makes sense. But yeah, guys, that's the facts I have about your teeth. So hope you take those to heart.
Yeah, remember, oral health is part of your body health.
Exactly.
Cool.
They're both equal.
Yeah, that's all to take in. I always, when someone says like teeth facts, I'm always like, man, am I doing enough? Like, you know, you have to
Listen, I think I
do
floss too much because my gums hurt right now.
Okay. It's now time for our predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
3 more episodes left in the season. Sierra,
love
tell
that
me
better.
something.
Then the spooky.
Oh, you want the tinfoil hats?
Ooh, the spook. No, the drop we
aliens?
just got.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I know what you're talking about. The other one's actually my favorite. That's why I'm like, what? That one.
There you go.
See? Pleasing both sides of the crowd.
Oh, okay. Okay, predictions. Oh, okay.
I got 2 questions for you. Just overall thoughts on the last 3 episodes of the season. And do you think Lakeitha gets a diagnosis next week?
Oh, well, that's actually what I was going to talk about. My overall thoughts of the last 3 seasons, or episode, I'm sorry. Like I always say, progression. No one have not got an answer, I believe, thus far, so that's good. So I hope it continues on that way. As far as Lakeitha, I actually feel like she may get an earlier diagnosis than we think, only because her situation looks very severe to where it's kind of like, I feel like it should be kind of easy to tell. Like I said, I'm not a doctor, I'm not sure, but this is just from outside looking in. So I hope we get something fast because I want her to go to rock her ring.
Yeah, I mean, that's a cool. No, seriously, I joke about it. But that's a cool like human interest element. Like if she gets to put on her ring and show how much love her husband, it's pretty dope. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I feel like there is going to be definitely we're gonna have some updates with like Quindella. She's been going on and Rory and her voice thing, but I'll be amiss if there wasn't one more groundbreaking cure. I don't know if they're saving it for another episode, but I feel like one's coming where you're like, wow, this person was completely suffering and they found something for it.
You feel like you haven't had that one yet?
Like a big one? Like, no, not so much. Like, okay, like a test for us today.
I do feel like a lot are similar, not the same, but very similar.
Right.
You know, so I will agree with that part.
Like, I felt like it would have been like Quindella's thing, but like, I felt like her steps have been so gradual that it hasn't been like that one, like, whoa like, thanks for chasing the cure. Like Tessera, for example, I think she has a benefit because she only had access to state-sponsored Medicaid medical professionals. Not saying that medical professionals are bad. Shout out to Washington State. But you know, if you want the best kind of cure, sometimes you have to go out of the Medicaid system.
Yeah.
So, like, I thought if she had like a diagnosis today and go, oh, you definitely has this, and this is the cure, I think that'd have been like the perfect like the quintessential chasing cure case. So I'm looking for one like that where we decided to answer
Maybe for the last episode, you know, they just drop it on us.
Yeah, season 2 comes soon.
Right.
That's all the time we have for this edition of the AfterBuzz After Show for Chasing the Cure. Sierra Stafford, where can the world find you online?
Yeah, so you can go find me on my Instagram at Sierra Stafford TV and my Twitter at Sierra B Stafford. Make sure you go follow.
Always a pleasure hanging out with you.
Yes.
I'm Flobo Boyce at Flobo Boyce on Twitter, at Flobito on Instagram, and Flobito.com. And until next time, be well.
Stay healthy.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.